Hey guys, Machines of Metal here. Just wanted to show you how I backlap sharpen one of these Gardena reel mowers, push reel mowers. This is a 380C model. The method I use can be used on just about every reel mower out there, not particularly Gardena, but any of the other brands. They all kind of do it the same way. So I'm just going to show you really quick how I do it, and maybe it'll help you out getting your mower sharpened at home there. So the way these work is you've got a reel with usually 4, 5, 7, or 9 blades. This one I think has 5. And then you've got a bed knife that runs along the bottom here. And it's like a pair of scissors. So as the reel blade passes over the bed knife blade, it snips. And what happens, just like a pair of scissors or a knife, the edge dulls and it doesn't snip anymore. It ends up tearing, and that's not good for your grass, and it also makes the machine hard to use. So I'm just going to show you how to check how sharp it is. What you want to do is get yourself some strips of newspaper or magazine paper, a thin paper. Don't want to use a thick paper because it doesn't mimic grass blades. You want to use a thin paper. And what you want to do is go on the end of the mower between the bed knife and the blade and just turn it and see if it cuts. And you can see that it folds. So if it folds paper, it probably tears grass. It will give the impression it's cutting, but it's not cutting, it's tearing. That's no good for the grass. That's not why you buy these mowers. You buy these mowers because they snip and they leave the grass cut edge happy and healthy. The grass heals up really quickly and starts growing again. If you tear it, you may as well just be using a rotary style lawnmower. So this side's a little closer. You can see it just started to cut there. But again, it's out. It needs to be adjusted and backlapped. So I'm going to show you quick on this particular mower how to backlap, or sorry, how to adjust it. It's a little different for different brands. These ones are really easy to do. In this case, you want a number 5 Allen key, and you'll notice that there's 2 Allen bolts, one on each side of the bed knife, and they actually are mounted with springs. And if you tighten them, it swings the bed knife up, and if you loosen them, it swings it down. And what you want to do is swing this bed knife up so that it just makes contact with these reel blades. You only want to turn this a degree at a time. So insert your Allen key and turn it about 1 degree. And you do the same thing on the other side. Now if you give the reel a turn, you can hear that we're starting to make some contact. And if we take our piece of paper and do the same test, see that this side just starting to cut, and this side cuts. So what that tells me is this side is closer to being set up than that side. What we want to do is add a little more tight to this side and try again. So now you can see we're getting a cut on that end of the reel, and we're also getting a cut on that end of the reel. Now, for some people, that's good enough. They're done and they'll now go back to mowing their lawn, but I like to take this a step further and actually give it a backlap, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a sec here. I like to set the reel knife a little bit tighter than it is so that we get a good backlap. So I'm just going to add another degree of turn to each side so that it has a little more grab, it's a little tighter. You would never be able to mow this way, but it's a good setup for doing a backlap. So our adjustments to the bed knife are done. We're ready to sharpen this reel. Next step is you need to remove one of the wheels because you have to spin this reel. What I'd like to do is take off the right side wheel. So on these models, there's a little slot and you pop off the cover. And then you take your handy dandy C-clip pliers and you pop off this little C-clip that's right here. Being careful not to have it spring loose and fly across the shop. Then take off that washer, then pull off your wheel, put those two parts down inside so you don't lose them. Then you need to remove this gear, and be careful because there's a little keyway underneath. You can see it right there inside that axle. That's your real axle right there, and it has this keyway. So you need to pull the keyway out, and notice the keyway actually has a shape to it. It needs to go back in that way. If you flip it over like this, it's not going to work as well. So make sure you put it back in the exact same way you took it out. Lay it down in the order that it came out, and just set this aside so that it doesn't get bumped or knocked on the floor while you're working on the reel. Now we're going to take this baby outside and we're going to show you the actual backlap. Alright guys, so out here what we got is a big old drill, the big old, I think that's a 3/4 inch chuck on it. And what you want to do is slip your chuck onto the axle of the reel and tighten it down. Now you don't want to go too tight because you'll actually crush that. Some of these are hollow and you'll damage it, and then it won't spin freely anymore with the gear on it. So you just want to snug it down like so. And then you need to make some adjustments to your drill so that you can access the bottom of the reel mower. Sorry, I should have set this up before I started the video, but we're this far into it, we'll just carry on. Alright, so now we can access the bottom of the reel and we can start our backlap. So what we got here is some 120 grit lapping compound. It's basically a liquid sandpaper, and I like to use 120 grit compound on the manual push reel mowers, the non-motorized, because the blades are pretty thin, and the 120 is a finer grit opposed to the 80 grit that I use for the gas powered machines, because the reels are usually a thicker, heavier metal, and 80 grit does a little bit better of a sharpen. So you take your paintbrush, mix up your soup, and then you want to flick on your drill and basically apply the lapping compound to the face of the blades. So as it turns, you can hear it's pretty smooth, even turn. You don't hear one of the blades knocking and the rest being smooth. It sounds good. This one's lapping up nicely. You're going to do that one more time. And I'm gonna really quickly just take some water and give that a rinse. Alright, so that technically should be the end of the lap job for this machine. So what we're going to do is take and remove the drill and put it back on our workbench. Alright, I'm going to really quickly take a little bit of compressed air. Like so. And now we'll take another piece of our paper and a little bit of lubricant. I like to use this fluid film product. Just apply a little bit to the blades. It helps prevent rust, but it also lubricates things so they're nice and smooth. And if we go back to our paper test, get a nice clip, nice clip, nice clip. Super clean clips. And the same, oh, I got a little piece of grass in there. Same over on this side. So I'd be pretty happy with that. It's a hair tight, you can hear it in the video, but as this wears itself in, it's going to wear the edge off that blade, and this thing is going to loosen up to the exact perfect spot that's going to make your customer happy when he uses it. So we reinstall the wheel, the keyway, the gear, the wheel, the ring, and the clip, and then we throw the hubcap back on, and we give the customer a call and let them know that their reel mower is sharp. Thanks for watching.